Ukraine will receive 50 billion euros from the European Union over the next 4 years, if it fulfills several conditions. The EU Council has finally adopted the Ukrainian reform plan. Their implementation is necessary to receive regular funding from the Ukrainian facility package.
An important step has been taken to provide much-needed, regular and predictable financial support for Ukraine's recovery, reconstruction and modernization over the next 4 years. The EU has reaffirmed its commitment to Ukraine's stability and growth. Vincent van Petegem, Minister of Finance of Belgium, from a publication on the website of the European Council.
The Ukrainian plan identifies 69 reforms and 10 investments. It covers 15 areas including energy, agriculture, transport, green and digital transition, and decentralization. Kyiv received the first money, 4.5 billion euros, under the Ukraine Facility Program in March 2024. At the end of April, the European Commission announced the allocation of a 1.5 billion tranche under the same program. The EU Council's decision to adopt the Ukrainian reform plan will allow the Ukrainian Facility Support Mechanism to be fully launched. Ukrainian Prime Minister Denis Shmyhal said,
"Our state will receive 1.89 billion euros in the near future. Overall, this year we expect to attract 16 billion euros under the program. This will strengthen our financial stability in the conditions of a full-scale war with Russia." Denis Shmyhal, Prime Minister of Ukraine, on Telegram.
Ukraine will also receive money from frozen Russian assets in 2024. On May 8, the EU approved a mechanism for the use of revenues generated by Russian funds blocked in the EU. The first tranche may be up to 3 billion euros. About 90% of these profits will be used to buy weapons and military equipment for the Ukrainian defense forces. The remaining 10% will be used to rebuild infrastructure.
We have a consensus in Europe that we want to use the profits from Russian frozen assets. This is a significant amount, several billion a year. We have also reached an agreement, which is now in the final stage, that we also want to use about 90% of these funds for Ukrainian defense purposes.
According to various estimates, the total value of the frozen assets of the Russian central bank in the world is from 260 to 350 billion euros. About 210 billion euros are blocked in the EU itself. Most of it is in the Euroclear depository in Belgium. But Russian money is not just cash. A significant part of its funds are on the depository accounts as well as in the securities, shares and bonds. In other words, assets that work and generate income. All of them still belong to Russia. However, according to EU regulations, Euroclear reinvests these incomes. It reuses them to make a profit. And this profit is not the property of the aggressor country, but the depository itself. Their transfer for Ukraine's needs is a much simpler procedure from the legal point of view compared to the seizure of Russian assets.
There are concerns that confiscation of Russian assets would be considered a violation of the Russian state's property rights and would shake the status of the Eurozone and the euro as a reserve currency used by many countries around the world. The use of the proceeds from frozen assets is a different story and is more acceptable in today's world. There is a consensus in Europe that these revenues should be used in favor of Ukraine and its military needs. This is a step forward.
The transfer of revenues from frozen Russian assets will not cover Ukraine's needs in the full-scale war. At the end of 2023, Ukrainian Finance Minister Serhiy Marchenko said that the country spends about 5 billion hryvnias on defense every day. In a month, it is about 3.5 billion euros. The 3 billion euros from Russian frozen assets blocked in the EU could cover Ukraine's defense spending for several weeks.
It's a good first step. If we are talking about the needs of Ukraine and the needs of the war, military and non-military, 3 billion euros is actually almost nothing. We need hundreds of billions in order to win the war. Denis Maluska, Minister of Justice of Ukraine, in a comment to Politico.
The Ukrainian government would really like to see a full confiscation of blocked Russian assets, says Maluska. Kyiv is confident that this is legal and that it is the only approach that will be crucial in terms of ending Russian aggression. Reported by Anastasia Tarnavska, Valeriana Kapelova, UATV News.